Hello, and welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm Stephanie Mae Potter, and I'm here with my co-host, Marnie Dachis Marmet.
We created the Art of Living Well podcast to empower you to live your happiest, healthiest, and most authentic life. Each week, we will bring you inspiring and motivating conversations covering health and wellness topics, including fitness, mindset, food, travel, product reviews, and strategies from a variety of experts, including our own bank of knowledge.
We are excited to educate, motivate, and inspire you to change the way you perceive health and discover your art of living well. Get ready to feel inspired. Hello, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Art of Living Well podcast. Marnie and I wanted to get on today because it's been a while since we've checked in with you guys and thought we would provide you with some of the exciting updates that we've had going on over the last several weeks. Both of us have taken trips, and we're going to just share a little bit about that and some of our family situations that we thought we'd share and give a little insight to. So
I was just going to say, we wanted to check in and just kind of update, like Stephanie said, on what's been going on in our lives, and thought maybe I'd start in. My family took a trip pretty early on in June. We planned it very last minute, and we packed in the car with the new puppy, and we drove up north to the North Shore of Minnesota and the Boundary Waters area. And that had been something on my bucket list for years. And I was so happy that we got to do it, because had it not been for COVID-19, we would not have planned that trip. We would have done something else probably. So we went up north. We stayed in a, condo with a kitchen. I brought tons of food with us. And we just spent the days in nature. We canoed, we portaged. We were on these beautiful lakes in northern Minnesota, right on the Canadian border. There was nobody else around us, and it was so amazing. And one of the greatest, I think, almost gifts about it was that, we would leave the place we stayed and start our drive, up north deeper into the Boundary Waters, everybody would lose phone service. And the phone service would be gone for like a solid 8 hours. So the kids were really forced to engage with everybody in the car and the canoes, whatever. And we just had these like amazing, deep conversations and tons of laughs. And we were playing like games and singing. And it was just kind of felt like being at camp as a kid again. So it was truly a gift. That's the only way I can describe this vacation. Is I just feel so lucky. It was a simple vacation. It wasn't expensive, and it was just amazing.
It's funny that you said it had been on your bucket list for a number of years, yet absent COVID and stay at home, you wouldn't have taken the trip. So why is that?
I think it's like timing. My kids go to camp in the summer, and the summers, we often don't get to travel as a family in the summer because of that. And if we do, it may be that we're going to see family out west, or, I don't know, things come up that seem to take precedence over that. And when we have this national park in our own backyard, that I don't know why. I don't have a good answer.
You actually bring up a lot of good points. And then there's like out of town tournaments on the weekend and different things you feel obligated. And now with no sports or very few sports, and the camps, unfortunately, being canceled, it does provide you that opportunity of time with your family. And I feel the same way. We ended up flying. So probably one of the first people I know to get on an airplane. And it was actually very safe. We flew Delta, which doesn't allow for anyone to sit in the middle seat, and masks are required in the airport and everywhere. So that was actually pretty easy. And my kids, are now fully used to wearing masks all day long. And we flew down to Georgia, and then we drove to Asheville, North Carolina, which had kind of been on my radar to visit. And it's beautiful down there. I had never been to the western part of North Carolina, not really spent any time in North Carolina. and you're in the mountains, and we were near a lake, and we lost cell phone reception several times. We were driving, didn't know where we were going. I said, this is why we still need good old fashioned paper maps, which my kids don't even know what that is, when you don't have Google Maps to help you. And we had such a great time, and we got to see some good friends of ours that live in Florida that were there. And yeah, it was just a beautiful part of the country. And then we were in downtown Asheville for a few nights as well. And it was amazing. It was just a great family time, lots of good adventures, lots of hiking and being outside, seeing another part of the country that we would not have taken this trip either, absent COVID pandemic. Yeah.
So, which is so cool that, I guess a silver lining, like you mentioned before, is the spontaneity of being able to plan something that was unplanned and last minute. And I've never been to either of the Carolinas, definitely somewhere I'd like to go at some point. And I saw some of your photos and they looked amazing and it looked so beautiful. So
it was. And we felt very safe, and everyone's comfort level right now is different as far as traveling, and you can just get in the car and go somewhere that's just a couple hours from your home. But it is nice to get away, because especially if you're working from home or your kids started to have some activities, and you've been we've all been pretty much homebound since sometime in March. There's something to be said about leaving your surrounding. And we did things that we hadn't done before. We were doing hikes in areas, and we went ziplining, and, getting outside your comfort zone, but with your family and with your kids, and going through that together as a family and as parents, demonstrating that ability to get outside your comfort zone in front of your kids, I think builds a lot of lifelong skills.
And in all honesty, it doesn't even really have to be like a vacation where you go somewhere and you sleep. Like, I had thought about before we planned this, if we couldn't actually go somewhere and stay somewhere else, just like getting up in the morning and doing day trips around our state. We can just get away from everything, whether it's going hiking or biking or whatever it is, just to have that family time away from the house and away from other people.
Absolutely.
So I think we would both highly recommend, if possible, to do something like that in a very, safe way. Yeah.
And just like Google your state parks that are close by you, because we visited a couple during this time. I didn't even know really existed. They're like 15 minutes from my house. And it's, a couple hours of a nature walk or a hike. You could pack a picnic lunch. Very simple.
But anyway, Stephanie and I have both had, changing gears a little bit, some kind of scary / stressful situations with COVID in the last few weeks. Kind of came to my family first right before the 4th of July. We found out that my son had an exposure, and it just put so much stress on our family. And we had to kind of lock down as a family. We missed all of our 4th of July weekend plans, stayed home. The 5 of us ended up getting tested to make sure that, his exposure was pretty remote, but you never know. And we want to make sure that we're being conscientious and safe and not spreading anything. And so anyway, the 5 of us got tested. It was a very stressful few days. It all turned out that we were negative, so it worked out. But it just got me thinking that this is our new normal. Like, I have 3 kids. They are out in the world. They're being as safe as they can be while still being kids and seeing other people who are then out in the world. And, it just kind of multiplies from there. And I think I'm starting to think that this is going to be our new normal, where you hear, oh, so-and-so had an exposure, or so-and-so tested positive. And then it's like, oh, does that mean my kid is, going to possibly be positive? And
right. And, the stress and anxiety that goes with that is almost worse, and the physical isolation that happens. And I can speak from experience, then sometimes any symptoms that you may have. I mean, if you're fortunate enough if you get it, and I can share more about our situation, and you don't have symptoms, but yeah, we flew back on a Sunday, and we subsequently found out that one of the children from the family that we saw several times in North Carolina, their test results came back, and it came back 5 days later, which was, kind of the unfortunate thing, just timing wise, and that he was positive, and he probably had a fever for maybe 2 hours, and it was a very, very low fever. Nothing, pre-COVID, you would never have even blinked an eye or even told your friend that your kid had a fever. That's how low it was. But given the heightened state of everything, they went and got tested. So we were in lockdown from the moment we arrived back. We were sheltering in place, and then we all went and got tested. 4 of us were negative, and my older son came back positive. And, who knows why? I mean, we were outside almost the entire time that we saw them. We were wearing masks quite a bit. We were, overall being pretty good about socially distant, but, at times you get comfortable and you're with people that you haven't seen in a while and friends. And anyway, it happened.
And honestly, Stephanie, truth be told, he could have been exposed anywhere, right? Like,
right.
It could have been in your own neighborhood for all you know, or at the grocery store, or on the airplane, or, there's, as much as we try and say, oh, I got it from this person, or this person got it from that person, we really don't know.
No, you don't know. Given the timing and the days, it's highly likely, but we don't know. And so thankfully he hasn't had any symptoms. The rest of us haven't had any symptoms, but I feel bad for him, honestly. We're all at home, yes, but he can't even make a meal. He can't interact with us. He's up in his room a lot, or he's outside in a hammock. He's wearing a mask when he, even walks downstairs. It's tough. It's very, very isolating. And so from a mental health aspect, I think that unless you have severe physical symptoms, which again, fortunately he doesn't, that piece of it is harder because he's bored, and it's very hard for him to engage with us with a mask on from 6 feet away.
Right.
And he's missing things. He's missed birthdays. He's missed a lot of social things that have come up, and tournaments that it would have been like the first time a lot of this would have taken place for him in months and months, right? Because we've all been really hunkered down.
And it's so hard because, at the end of the day, we have to be so thankful that he doesn't have symptoms, and that he is feeling well, and that your family's feeling well, and that, the other family's feeling okay.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people that, get this, especially older people, and they're not feeling great.
Right.
So silver lining, you guys, it's this 2-week block of time.
Right.
And in the big scheme of this pandemic, hopefully that'll just be a little blip on your radar, right?
And the good thing is we didn't see a single person. We found out the timing of everything. We got home, we didn't see anyone, not even a neighbor. So we feel very good that we were not exposing ourselves to anyone who may have, compromised immune system, or being an older individual, et cetera. And there's honestly, a little bit of silver lining. It's beautiful. We've had great weather in Minnesota. We've been able to eat almost all our meals outside, which is really nice. I like doing that anyway. And it's just forces us to, so that he can be a part of it without being right there. And I've gotten outside and taken a lot more walks because I'm not driving kids around. So there's obviously a little bit of boredom, but there's some aspect of just, spending more quality time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice, so.
And I feel like everybody has a similar story.
Yeah.
It's just getting to the point where everybody's being touched by this in some capacity.
Right. And
can relate. And hopefully people will continue, to really focus on trying not to judge others, because everybody's fearful, everybody's stressed. And the more we can take a step back and try and remember, the big picture.
Well, and I think too, and I had this conversation with my husband, it's also, I can't control what's going to happen. And as a person that can get very stressed and anxious, I've actually relatively so have been able to maintain some sort of calm about this because he's feeling okay too. And I'm just doing what I can do on a day-to-day basis, and I'm making sure everyone gets outside and we get some movement and we get some vitamin D, and we're sleeping more, and we're trying to reduce stress and obviously eat healthy. And that's all I can control. And someone else out there has a plan, or I can't control what happens. And so as much as we all like to focus on the media and listen to the news and all that. I still do that, but in moderation, and I'm not going to get myself all worked up about what may or may not happen in the future.
And absolutely. And just changing gears, thinking about some exciting things that are going on for us right now. We have a fun yoga event coming up.
Which unfortunately we had to postpone. So for anyone out there who signed up, we're so sorry. But given that my situation, we just didn't feel like it was a good idea to have it for this week.
But we were able to postpone it to next Wednesday. And thankfully, all the people that signed up can come next Wednesday. So that ended up working really well. We still have some spots available, and we're super excited about it. We have Michelle Olson from Layers Yoga. She used to be from Whispering Cave, if you're familiar with her. She's a phenomenal teacher, and we just adore her. So she's coming to lead our class. And then we're going to do a little wine tasting from Scout and Cellar Clean Crafted Wines. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so you can head on over to our website and get a link to sign up, or check out our Instagram page, and there's a link in our profile to sign up for that, or message us. But we would love to have you, anyone who lives in the area. The next update we wanted to mention is this Eat Local Food Challenge. And we talked about it. It was actually brought up by the members of the Lake Winds marketing team. We had them on the episode a couple weeks ago. And it started with an organization in the Wisconsin, Minnesota area. And it's in response to the unexpected challenges being faced by producers and farmers. So a couple ideas to shop local is shop at your local co-op. That's one of their missions, to support local businesses and particularly local farmers. You can try to get a CSA if it's not too late. I know near me, there are a lot of local farmers who will set up shop in a parking lot and sell local produce. And I love supporting those businesses as well. So tons of opportunities regardless of where you live. But if you do live in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area, you can head on over to localfoodisessential.org and sign up to take their pledge.
And then we just wanted to do a quick shout out to our interns. We have these 3 wonderful interns working for us this summer, and they are just doing an amazing job, and they're creating these wonderful graphics for us that you're seeing on social media. And they really have been helping us kind of do some of the kind of the grunt work or the background work for the podcast. And it's been really fun working with them, and hopefully they'll want to stay on into the school year.
Yes. And we've even had some great photos taken. One of them's a photographer and doing a lot of the graphics and helping us build our social media platform. So just a little shout out to them. Thank you guys if you're listening. And that's all we had, I think, for today.
Yeah, we hope that everyone's doing well. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or comments, or if there's something you want us to dive into deeper. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you would be so kind as to go and rate and review our podcast, we'd really appreciate that as well.
Yes. So just have a good day and stay well, everyone.
Take care. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Art of Living Well podcast. We are so grateful that you joined us today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or anyone else you think may benefit from this information. We'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and tag the Art of Living Well podcast on social media.
If you want more inspiration in between episodes, you can find us on social media at theartofliving_well on Instagram and Facebook, where we will share snippets from our daily lives and our journey to living well.